sorry?
This library is, I think, nicer than mine do. It's much.
Oh, yeah,
bigger.
yeah, I
It's
mean-
huge compared to mine. Mine is a little.
Well, and this is really actually a great place to get names and
Yeah, and.
because at least some of the students are going to vote.
Yeah.
The gentleman here probably is a resident.
Uh-huh.
Oh, come on, get in. Okay.
Okay.
I am Chris Richardson, the Green Party candidate for Congress in 2024. And we are hoping to get past the primary, which is a horrible way of selecting candidates, but oh well. You know, as if the rings of fire the county puts in front of you in order to get to this point, you know, it's just amazing how much work it is to get here, which I would like to see about making it easier for people who are really intent on making a difference to get into that realm. And, you know, what we're really shooting for is ranked choice voting. Have you heard it before? Probably yes. Well, and it's very popular in Maine, Massachusetts, San Francisco, oddly enough, as well as Berkeley, and some other locations on the coast. Now, the beautiful thing is, it's not a binary, A or B, A or B, you know, and that's one of our big problems, is that the whole idea of having the population of people who are willing to actually do the work has got to be willowed down to 2, is just ridiculous, at least from that standpoint. Now, ranked choice voting means that you have all of these people on the ballot. Remember after they threw out the governor and the broad spread that they had for all the candidates for governor. That was horrific. We ended up with Schwarzenegger. Lucky us. But the thing is that if it had actually been ranked choice voting, it wouldn't have necessarily been just a personality selection. And this is the thing. It's important, it is actually important that you make a decision of the candidates that you are interested in seeing in that spot. Now, you can choose your first, choose your second, choose your third, and choose your fourth. Now, 4 out of however many just means that you have 4 votes in the pool. Now, the thing is that if we take a look at all the first selections, and there's one candidate who comes out way ahead of everybody else, great, we found our candidate. Now, the beautiful thing is that ranked choice voting is very economical in that it gets rid of the primary altogether. There is no primary because you've just voted, and there's a built-in runoff in ranked choice voting. And if there is no clear winner in the first one, then you go to your seconds and add those into the first. And then if there's somebody who starts showing up as a major winner, then great, go with them. And you know, you've made it over your 50%. Now, and that's another little twist I had built. I had been wanting to put in as ranked choice voting. And of course, if you don't get a clear winner on the second one, you bring in the third level, and so on until you come up with a winner, or at least a very small pool of people that we can negotiate with. Now, one of the things that I thought would be so cool is that if the incumbent had to make more than 50%. You know, so it's rigged against him to win outright. And he has to work harder. He has more visibility than anybody else. And so, you know, this is the thing. And, you know, and the next time, if he's the incumbent the second time, he has to even make more, a bigger. Now, if he doesn't make it, fine, he drops out. And then the other pool takes over. They find the best out of that group. And that way we get a succession of people who want the job and are willing to be involved, but are not necessarily bought. And this is one of the things we want to avoid, is keeping people from being bought and becoming corporate stooges to the actual needs of the people. And this is what you know, one of the things, proposals I was going to have as part of my campaign would be a progressive boundary for the incumbents. And it makes it a whole lot easier. Now, the thing is that being somebody who's going against the incumbent, my incumbent's always been Ami Berra. And he has handily beaten me, but it's usually in the primary. I never get past that. But that is again the problem. Now, the issue is that ranked choice voting was considered here in California, well, not only by, you know, San Francisco and Berkeley, but it was going to be the law of the land. Jerry Brown vetoed it. It passed through the Senate, and it passed through the Congress, the Assembly, and then he vetoed it. And that's okay. Next time, Newsom came out and he vetoed it. This is not what the Democrats want. They don't want fairness. They want everybody else gone. That's why, was one of the reasons that they are trying to force the destruction of the Green Party, basically. And the Green Party here in Sacramento has pretty much fallen apart. In fact, my treasurer was the guy who helped me get into the Green Party. And it turns out that he's now in the Democratic Socialists. But even so, we should welcome having candidates from those different parties involved. You know how many parties Cuba has?
No.
13. They have more democracy than we do. Oh, you know, last summer when we were showing all the ruffians running through the streets and the cops clubbing them, and they had some demonstrations in Havana, and somebody got a camera down there, and you know, it was like one of the protesters was having a nice conversation with the cop. You know? And they were just, it's like Joe and Bob, just had a nice conversation, and they shook hands and walked away. But what do? We send people down there to infiltrate and raise a ruckus, and it's so frustrating. But at any rate, it's just so sad. We've allowed this to happen, and we need to stop it. Well, our imperialism is coming back to bite us. We have sanctions and embargoes and all kinds of things on different countries that we don't even, that the people don't even realize is happening. Such as, we still have embargoes against Cuba and sanctions. We have tried to keep that country as broke as possible. And you know who came to the aid of the Russians, or not the Russians, but the Chinese in Wuhan when the outbreak happened? It was the Cubans. The Cubans came in, helped them build all the hospitals, and set things up, and then when they got things pretty well under control, they also brought immunoglobulin alpha 2 beta, which is a stimulant of the immune system so that it can fight the viruses better. And during the first 2 years of the COVID, the death rate in Cuba was like 250 total. For 2 years. And they had their own vaccine. And I would have gone, if you went down there and planted feet on Cuban soil, they would give you the vaccine for free. And it'd be a hell of a lot more active and positive than the crap that we were given. And the crap that we were given is exactly what the virus needed in order to mutate. Okay, the vaccine was made out of, initially, the Wuhan strain. Of course, that's the butt that we're trying to fight. Only thing is that by the time it got to the States, it already had mutated once, at least once. And it was dying out in the population. The Wuhan strain was almost gone. And, they couldn't get the vaccine together fast enough to get it into people's arm to be effective. So they added 2 more strains, variant 4 and variant 5. And that kind of worked, but the thing is that by the time they got it into people's arms, those variants were dead too. So what they were doing, they were building a whole bunch of a population that was a filter to get rid of all the old characteristics of that one protein. There was actually like 25 different proteins in COVID-19. We picked one. It happened to be one of the hottest as far as mutations. So it changed a lot. And so the variants could escape easily. When I got Omicron, it was after attending Blue Hair conference at 3 stages. And I came down with it in the middle of the night. And, I had the cough and the sore throat and the headache and, it was awful. It was terrible. And I got up, took 36 milligram of ivermectin with oil, and went back to sleep. And as you went to sleep, you could feel the symptoms going away. And when I woke up 4 hours later, the only thing I had left was a little congestion. You know? And the thing is the cleanup of that after the ivermectin protects you against all of the 25 proteins in the virus. You know, and they said, well, people with previous infections, oh, they've got they've got natural immunity, but we'll give them the vaccine anyway. That'll give them super immunity. No, it actually, the vaccine has a suppressor in it. It's a suppressor of your immune system. So, you know, people who had natural immunity lost natural immunity getting vaccinated and boosted. And it's criminal. It is actually criminal and should be considered to be almost a war crime, what they've done. And I've been listening to a tape, it's actually an audio, but it's also a book. There it is. Oh, by the way. I'll give it another one. But viral. That is a story of, first of all of the different programs that the U.S. started. The first was PREDICT. And the goal of PREDICT was to find the most pandemic-worthy organisms in the world. We built the Wuhan lab, virology lab. We also built one in Saudi and a bunch of others all over the country, all over the world. And that's where we picked up MERS. And the death rate of MERS is way higher than corona. And this whole thing of forcing children to get immunized for this is insane. Children are not susceptible to, and if they do catch it, it's a minor cold. Their bodies can fight it off with one hand tied behind its back. But now you've vaccinated them and suppressed their immune system. So you're really doing them more damage by vaccinating them. And, well, we've had an awful lot of children die on the athletic field because a lot of it is the administration error. When they go for a muscle, they don't always hit a muscle, or they hit a vein. And that's why they try and aspirate once they get it in, they try and draw back on the hypodermic so they can see if blood comes back. And if blood comes back, it's a vein, and you do not inject a vaccine into a vein. If you do that, you pretty well kill the kid. Well, you've just injected a PEG. PEG is a polyethylene glycol. It's a coating. And all of the RNA capsids are loaded into this. And this is an easy way of getting this into one of your cells. Now, if it happens to go to the heart, well, it's those cells that end up being the host for making the spike protein. And the spike protein is probably one of the most toxic proteins going. It has a whole lot of pieces from other places. One's a venom, one's from AIDS, one's, you know, and the mRNA was actually it's a messaging system between your nucleus and your cytoplasm. It's sending information from the nucleus about the environment, saying that we need to make this protein. Now, the mRNA that's in the vaccine is not really mRNA. It's a supplemented RNA where, you know, there's 4 bases: adenine, uracil, guanine, and cytosine. 4 bases for the amino acids. Actually, for the nucleotide bases that code for the amino acids. Well, it turns out that instead of using uracil, they use a pseudo-uracil that your body can't recognize. And the templates that they pump into your system and they boost with every boost all have the pseudo-uracil. And your body cannot get rid of the message. Basically, it sits in your cytoplasm and keeps, it's like it's stuck in a reproduction machine. And it's pumping out spike protein like crazy. And there's all kinds of nerve damage that they can do. There's a lot of glandular tissue that they go after, and it's just horrifying, the damage that this stuff does. And they're talking about even making more different types of messaging that reflect some of the variants. Now, the thing is that Delta was a nasty variant, but Omicron, that was basically the vaccine in a viral form. You know, if you got it, you'd be sick for a day or two, but you get over it. Why people were protecting themselves from Omicron was insane. And some of the things that they could have done would do wonders for them. It doesn't, you know, it was cheap. Vitamin D3, C, zinc. And I've also found out that there's it's a digestive product that's common in Chinese food called nattokinase. And that helps break up the spike protein. Not only that, but there's also another one, an herb called berberine. And there's a website, flccc.net, and that's on the paper, yeah. And they have protocols for how to detoxify from the stuff you've been doing. Now, the thing is that the pseudouracils, those templates can be seen in your body 18 months after the vaccination. And in your a healthy environment, the natural mRNA probably has a half-life of about maybe half an hour, maybe 5 hours. You know? But this is the thing, is that they went on top of a messaging system that is really neat. And it was very clever of them to do it, but it was really nasty of them to poison so that you can't get rid of it. And there are ways of getting rid of it, but the thing is that things like coronary tissue, heart tissue, doesn't heal. You scars, and that weakens your heart. And this is what kills those kids and those athletes on the field, is that they get a hot shot in a vein and they're set up to die. And depends on how much of the heart muscle was damaged. So, how are we doing? Yeah, let's look up a couple. Yes, questions?
No, I just think it's very interesting. So what kind of shots are the athletes getting?
The same thing.
Just
Same thing you guys are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why it should never have been given to children. And certainly not to pregnant women.
They didn't give it to pregnant.
The incidents,
Pregnant women didn't take the COVID virus.
Actually, a lot did.
Did they?
They had a lot of stillbirths.
Wow.
A lot of stillbirths. And if you look at deaths of unknown, unspecific reasons, you see that it's pretty stable until 2020, and then it goes up like that. In every country. You know, it wasn't just America.
No, that makes, yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that Pfizer and Moderna drowned in hell. Frankly, they are war criminals, and they gave out really bad information, and they really hurt an awful lot of people for no good reason other than profit.
So tell me about these authors from Viral.
Oh, Elena Chan and Matt Ridley. The authors, I've got the book and I can loan it to you, or I can make a copy of this. It's a good read, but it's a little on the technical side. Yeah, but this is the thing.
Where did these people come from?
Well, the one is, well, they've done their homework. They're actually, they've accumulated an awful lot of information about the Chinese involvement. And remember, we had the PREDICT program, which ran from just before the late 1990s through about 2005 or 6.
Yeah.
And then we had gain of function, which was an effort to make them into a weapon. And they succeeded. Not only that, but it was...
The library and lobby are closing in 15 minutes.
Sure.
Please see staff now if you need a library card or any other assistance.
But
If you are on a library computer, remember to save your work. Thank you.
Right,
public service announcements.
right.
Okay, but this is a very well documented text, and basically, one of the people that's in there is a Dr. Ralph Barrick from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He is one of the architects of COVID-19. Gain of function ran from 2009 to 2014 in our country, when Congress cut off the funding. And unfortunately, Anthony Fauci fought to get that funding re-established in a different network. And the thing is that gain of function research is the poor man's nuclear weapon. It costs very little to do research on it and to cause mutations. And what you end up with is something that can be stored. Well, and gain of function was being run by the National Institute of Health, with the able assistance of the university systems of the U.S., including UC Davis and Carolina, and also USAMRIID, the Army's involvement in infectious diseases. And that's out of Fort Detrick, Maryland. Now what happened in 2019, early 2019, like February, March, was that they had a spill, supposedly, out of USAMRIID, outside of Fort Detrick, which was 2 nursing homes. And you don't hear about it because it wasn't reported. But it happened, and it was so mysterious that it was very big local news, but they shut it off for national consumption. And the thing was is that USAMRIID is very good at covering up. And they rounded up everybody and made sure that they, yeah. But it was sad. At any rate, we waited until the Chinese military games in Wuhan. Okay, that was in October of 2019. What happened in September 2019 is that we threw gain of function over the fence to the Wuhan lab. They could do it. You know, we taught them how. And the thing is that we were setting them up. We were building the frame. And so there's some big controversy going on right now. And if you go to Wikipedia and look for the Chinese military games in Wuhan 2019, you probably won't find it directly. But if you look around a little bit, you will. And they have rewritten history. The version I have from before about a month ago says that, we came in 35th out of 109 participant countries. And then, but that was deserved. We won 3 silver and 5 bronze. Now the problem is that My version says we sent 172 participants to a 9,000 participant game. And the goal for our participants was not to win medals. It was to infect as many people as possible. So everybody got to go home with a case.
Instead of a medal.
Yeah.
I thank you. This has been very interesting. It really has. And some of the information I've heard before,
Yeah.
but some of it's very, very new.
Yeah.
And it should be more public.
It should be. I agree. And this is one of the reasons why I'm making this little clip. But I'm sneaking it in under the wire.
Yes.
So I'm throwing bread to the internees at the Warsaw Ghetto. And what we're being told is a lie. So many lies and so many misinformation about what's going on in Israel. Oh my God, they want us to participate in their genocide of the Palestinians. They're bringing in nerve gas into Gaza. They built up all along the hillside, and now down they're going to use nerve gas.
So that sounds like another clip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that would be an interesting one too.
yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for taking the trouble to find this
I
place.
know.
This is probably the hardest of the
It's like a
ones.
little Warren.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Christy.
We'll see you.
And we'll catch you again.
Yes, we will. Next time you're in Roseville.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Hang on a second. If you got a second, why don't we get you to save you a trip out to the wait in the.
Yes,
Yeah. You got a pen or if you
I
don't?
do.
Oh, good. I think I may have one.
No, I do.
Okay.
School teachers always have pens. So I go here.
Print. Okay, well, guys, thank you very much for your attention, and we will catch you next time, hopefully in a better venue than this. Take care.